Good afternoon, everyone. Today is December 8th, 2022. And I am here to say with a heavy heart that today is the last episode for this season's Moving Forward with Achilles International with yours truly, me, Jacob Williams, the very lucky intern in this scenario. I like to get a few things out of the way beforehand. So, original plan, right, was to have a guest on. And sometimes life throws you a couple curveballs, and lo and behold, they end up not being able to make it for tonight's episode, unfortunately. So, what does this mean? Well, glad you guys asked. It means you get to listen to my beautiful voice for the next half an hour. More or less. Let's make it more. If we can make it by 45 minutes, that would be incredible. I mean, I've done it before, but doing it when I had 10 minutes to really come up with an idea to talk about in the first place was, that's quite a gander right there. And that was my phone. Get out of here. What are you doing? Anyway, I hope everyone's Thanksgiving was phenomenal. I know that was a little bit while back. Talked about a little bit with my last guest, Thomas. Thomas, if you're end up listening to this, hope you're doing well. Little thing about Thanksgiving, I gotta say, just get off my chest, right? Is that stuffing is the best side dish you could have. Period. There's no ifs or buts. Just want to get that out there. So, I've been your host for a while now, and I'm sure you all have heard a little bit about my story, more or less through the other guests that I've had on the show. But those are only like little sneak peeks. I want you guys to know a little bit more about me through the organization. I kind of met Aaron through the communications department. They have these websites that allow our main teachers contact other personnel through other industries, and one of these industries is film, obviously, but Aaron was looking for someone to help with the communications department, more specifically your podcast. I have done a podcast myself called the Jacob Ryan Podcast. Subtle little name drop there. You can check it out on YouTube if you guys want, but that's not why I'm here. Essentially, it was a great meeting. She saw my my content, and from there things kind of like unraveled. Good time working Jack Muscalato. Actually, it's funny enough, I just had a conversation with the guy, and I was gonna have him as the honorable last guest. Well, okay, that not really. He was gonna be like my last ditch effort. To be honest, he was like the fourth one. But he would have been really interesting to have on here, that's for sure. But he's a little busy. He's got schoolwork and stuff. Don't we all? We always got work going on. That's just how it is. That's how life rolls. You just gotta roll with the punches. I had it's getting it's at that point right now with the weather. I was outside today, and there's a whole point to the story. I was outside today, right? I meant to wake up at like 5 for a workout. And for those who don't know, I ruck, or I started rucking a lot as of a few weeks ago. I started with, it was a 40-pound, actually no, beforehand, I had these horrible shoes that my dad gave me and they're all crappy, and they would cause blisters on the bottoms of my feet, so I couldn't have any weight on my shoulders, so I just had to walk or run to school with my backpack. So technically that's still rucking, but I won't count it because it's like 5 pounds, and I have a stronger back than that. Eventually got new shoes, eventually made it to 40 pounds, and then as of right now, I've been rucking all week to and from the school, which is 5 miles from where I live. And I'm not going to tell you guys where I live. Okay, you don't need to know that information. That's between me and myself and I. And I've been rucking for 5 miles almost every single day, except for Tuesday, because Tuesday was leg day. And listen, I'm not that hard. I'm savage, but not that savage. And doing it with 70 pounds, and that's a lot. And one of the things that you kind of realize about yourself when you do hard things, especially every day, for one thing, you start realizing the importance of not really motivation, because I'm just going to be honest with you guys, I'm never motivated to do any of these things because they suck. Like no one wants to be motivated for something that's just going to put you on the edge for 4 hours straight, Not exactly something to look forward to, especially with something that doesn't really have very foreseeable consequences. Like, I had arm day today. When you're doing curls and like tricep curls, like, you can see the effects of the pump, and that's great motivation. You don't need that much discipline for that, in my opinion. But that's just me. I could be wrong. But you know what? Everyone's a little different. But with the rucking, the thing about rucking is that you don't really notice a big difference in anything. Maybe in the weight. And I will say, I would never have thought I'd be able to ruck 70 pounds like for 5 miles. That's like insane. That's a record for me right there, I think. Because, let's see, I have to look on this later, but I think the furthest I've ever done before then was, I think, 6 miles, but that was with like 50 pounds, I'm pretty sure, because I was hiking on the Sleeping Giant Trail with a buddy of mine a couple summers ago, and we just decided to ruck, but he didn't have a weight vest like I did. But I did the weight vest, and I had like a bunch of clothes stuffed into my backpack for extra weight. And yeah, and it's safe to say it sucked. But now I'm doing it with 70 pounds. Albeit it's on a flat road, but listen, you gotta start somewhere, guys. You can't just go from 0 to 100 very quickly. It doesn't happen like that. It never does. That's the other thing too. That's the other thing it made me realize with this organization, with the people that I've talked to, and the people that I've met and experienced some of the races with. Not as much as Jack, that lucky guy. He got to experience more races than I did, which I'm very sorry about missing out on. But hey, it is what it is. The experiences that a lot of the people have, you start to realize something. Is that any change, whether it's good or bad, is very, very slow. It takes a lot of time to really see an effect, a form out of it. You have people with paralysis and fibrosis and speech impediments, and sometimes it's very instant, but has very lasting effects, and vice versa. And one of the things I've realized, I've really taken for granted what I'm able to do, what my body is able to do, and for the people that I've met, it's really opened my eyes. I've considered myself very lucky to meet many other people from other parts of the world, and by world I mean like the United States, which isn't part of the world, but the United States is pretty big in my case. I come from a humble little town in New Hampshire. Anything out of that town is the great wide world for me, guys. Okay, give me a break. But, I've seen people from Wyoming, Colorado, California, Nevada, Utah, been down in Turks and Caicos, in Florida. Florida's crazy. A lot of people don't know how to drive there. It's funny, my grandpa used to have a motorcycle, and he would go motorcycle riding all the time in the Upper East Coast, in New Hampshire and Massachusetts. But the moment he retired and him and my grandma went down to Florida. He was really quick to sell that motorcycle, I gotta say. And that's why I never plan on living in Florida, guys. You know, that, and it'll probably be underwater in like a few decades, but you know, what can you do at that point? But the experiences that I was able to have with the people that I've had on this podcast, which to have said that, you know, it's opened my eyes, because it made me realize that just like what they want, it's gonna take much longer than you would anticipate, and you're gonna have to go through, you know, as the youth say, fighting demons, as you know, as a wise man once said. And when you encounter those demons more often, you start getting used to them more often, and become a little bit easier and easier. And then there comes a point where they're no longer your demons, and they're more like your closest friends, because you're familiar with them. You know, they press their buttons, you snap back at yourself, and you make sure that you don't quit whatever you're doing. That's basically how my rucking event went today. It was just me, well, not yelling at myself, but you have little conversations in your head. Take a break there. I know your shoulder. You just gotta go a little together. You see the little rock there? That's about 50 feet away. You can take a break there. I know your shoulders are tired, but you gotta keep going, because that pain that you're feeling in your right shoulder, which by the end I realized it was hurting so much because my tank top was rolled up, so it was like a really bad pressure point. But at the time I didn't know. I just thought I had my backpack like tied up the wrong way. Oh, and the lights are off now. Anyway, and they're back on. I think the studio's haunted, guys. And you know, you have to keep talking to yourself and becoming your own drill sergeant, in a sense. It really helps whatever tough times that you're going through. Always, and this is some advice I could probably give to anyone listening, always try to create the most rational decision in any moment, right? Do not let your emotions take control over you. That's not to say don't have emotions. We're human. We're gonna feel sad. We're gonna feel angry, jealous, depressed, enraged. I felt all those things, and I'm sure you have too. But the thing that's very important is have those feelings, but then reel yourself back and put yourself in control again. Do not be prone to having outbursts of any kind in your character. Is that because of what that's into doing those sorts of outbursts? You're going to be very easily manipulative, you know, whether intentionally or not. Even, you know, subconsciously, you could be manipulating yourself, whether it's you placing yourself in not the best surroundings, or not with the best people, or not with the best intentions, whatever it may be. Make sure that you try to regain your control. And that kind of rolls into the whole discipline thing I was talking about, where it's not motivation. I'm almost never motivated. I've lost almost 100 pounds. I've lost 80 pounds. Okay, maybe 70. Probably 70, more likely. But I'm still losing it and stuff. And a lot of it didn't have to do with the fact that I was motivated. I hated the process about 90% of the time. I didn't like going out every morning. Well, okay, I like the morning runs. Scratch that. I didn't like how I had to sacrifice so much at some points, while everyone seemingly did not. And that's part of that whole discipline thing, where you have it's not something that you want to do. It's something you have to do. It's a job. It's a funny little thing that I kind of coined myself, is that the reason why it's called working out is not because it's for fun. It's because it's work. You're working out. It's a job. You go to a job every single day. You put your time in, you get your time out. The harder you work, the more money you get paid. And so in that case, the more effort you put into whatever physical exertion that you put yourself under, then the more you're going to get out of it. And I got a lot out of it, guys. Like I said, I'm rucking 70 pounds almost every day. Probably after this week, I'll stick to the 70 pounds. And then once I get home, I'll be rucking with 100 pounds, perhaps. We'll see if I make it through the week. I'm honestly not looking forward to tomorrow. I'm just not. But it's got to be done. And that's just life. That's just life, guys. That's how it is. And there's the other thing you have to realize too is that you have to embrace pain. Like, pain is going to be probably the main thing that shapes who you are. How you respond to pain is who you are going to be and who you become in your lifetime. Not exactly what that pain is, but again, how you react to it. It's that simple, really. A lot of the answers to life's problems are simple. It's just they're a combination of simple answers over a long period of time. It's not like a simple answer that can be finished in one day. It's not like a questionnaire. It's like life's like one of those math questions. See, I'm horrible at math, so this is a great analogy for myself because I'm the only one in the room. So they put out one of those math quizzes, and you have no idea how to tackle the question. You're like, okay, so is it bananas that I'm trying to estimate? Is it the amount of buckets he has? How many goldfish? What's going on? Your dad had no idea. And then eventually, over time, sometimes you need your dad's help or your mom's help, or you figure it out yourself. You try to test some things. You realize, oh, this doesn't make sense. Why do I have -3 goldfish? That's not even mathematically possible. And then eventually you get it and you go, wow, I really put all that effort in, and the answer was in front of me the entire time. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is exactly what, what success is, how I become a better person. Success is a very different definition depending on who you ask. For me, it's to be well-rounded, to be virtuous, to be self-sufficient. That's why I define as success, I guess. And again, I'm only 22. That could easily change in the next 5 years or so. Even next year, I could change. I was a very different person 2 years ago, and I don't expect to being the same person in another 2 years. And we'll see how that goes. And I don't expect anyone else who I've had on the podcast or whoever's listening in on this to being the same person in the next 2 years as well. And I hope not. Because that's the thing about being human, is that we change. Things change. I don't like it when people say that once you're something, you're always something. Maybe. Sometimes. Sometimes it's a choice too. Want the change. Most of the time it's a choice. You can choose to have your old habits be inherited, or you can build upon those habits or throw them out. And choice is all up to you. But, I don't think that the choices that you made, you're stuck with forever. There's no outside forces really perpetuating the idea that if you have this belief or if you have this condition, that you can't change some sort of aspect about it. I firmly believe that people can change, guys. Yours truly, I've definitely changed. the friends and the family members I've had, they've changed, But I wanted to leave down a good note. I hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving, by the way. I know I did. And in about a week or so, I have finals coming up for my class. The film industry is going to be interesting, I will say. I hope I get to do more of these podcasts. Really interesting. Get to meet a lot of people. I might start uploading more JRP content again, as now I'm definitely in the groove for doing these podcasts. And I only hope to, as I told Aaron before, definitely want to expand those skills. Yeah, it's good. Anyway, I am your host, Jacob Williams. Hope you guys have a Happy New Year's, a Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, whatever other holidays I seem to miss out on, because I'm just I don't have any knowledge in that department. But again, I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening. Thanks for taking the time out of your day to listen to, hopefully not my god-awful voice. Because it's weird, of my own voice, when I listen to it, it sounds natural, but then, I listen to a recording, and it's just disgusting. But, that's just me. And I hope you guys don't have that same reaction that I just did. But if you do, just don't tell me. It would really hurt my feelings. So, yeah. Anyway, this is the Moving Forward with Achilles International podcast. In the Connecticut chapter, by the way, Connecticut. There's a lot of chapters. This is Connecticut. And it's been an honor, ladies and gentlemen, of being the host. Goodbye.